What makes a great leader? Great leaders accomplish unforgettable things. Their work is remembered for generations. But most importantly, the greatest leaders love what they do and know how to do it better than anyone else. In this video, we're going to show you 4 leadership tips guaranteed to make anyone a great leader. And we're going to take these tips from one of the most memorable achievements in history, the Pantheon.
The Pantheon in Rome was built by the Emperor Hadrian, built to be a temple for all the gods. This temple has lasted almost 2,000 years. It's one of the oldest buildings in the world that's still usable today. The marvel of the Pantheon is that it's the largest unsupported concrete dome structure ever built. The dome at its highest point is almost 150 feet, which matches the diameter of the room, which also spans 150 feet. This huge span has no columns or buttresses to help support the dome. Even with the advancement in technology, no dome structure has ever been built this big without a support system. Back when it was built, the Romans didn't have the knowledge of putting steel tension rods through concrete like we do today. All of the pressure and force of the dome was pushing on the side walls, constantly pushing the walls outward. To make sure the building wouldn't fall, they designed the building with a few key techniques. Number 1, they built with a solid base of walls 20 feet thick to act as the foundation. 2, as the ceiling rose, they mixed lighter material in the cement to lighten the weight. 3, when you look up at the dome, you might be overtaken by the massiveness of it. But then you'll start to see molded recessed panels in the ceiling. Although these panels provide some aesthetic to the dome, the engineers put them in to eliminate concrete, which lighten the ceiling's weight. Number 4, at the top of the dome, you'll notice a small hole. This is called the oculus, and it was the last feature used to minimize the weight of the dome to make sure the building would hold. These major design features allowed the Pantheon to support the dome at the time it was built, but it also enabled it to last for almost 2,000 years. Like many amazing feats and marvels in life, there are many lessons to learn from the Pantheon. Lessons that could help us design our own life to be just as amazing and marvelous as the Pantheon. The first lesson we find from the Pantheon is in its design. The engineers created a massive foundation to support the grandeur of the Pantheon's domes. The walls are 20 feet thick, and the most effort and material was placed in the foundation of the building to stabilize it. This is also a requirement in life. If you are expecting to build your life to be as grand as the Pantheon, you must spend the majority of your time on building a solid foundation, doing activities that stabilize the body and mind. Activities like exercising, strengthening relationships, studying, meditation, sleeping, and developing a good routine. It's not only important to establish these things, but to always focus on strengthening them and improving them. Even though the Pantheon has a really strong foundation, it doesn't always get noticed. The walls are 20 feet thick, but they don't catch everyone's attention. It's the dome that everyone likes to look at. But the dome only exists because the walls are so strong. It's amazing. Everyone loves to watch athletes and entertainers like Tom Brady, Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Serena Williams, or Oprah Winfrey. However, all of these successful people spend way more time preparing than performing. This is the second lesson we learned from the Pantheon, that the amazing eye-catching things in life must be a very small part of our lives if we want to do something that will last forever. Unfortunately, to make something amazing, it takes someone who's willing to do the mundane, boring things of life. Tom Brady performs so well, and he's been playing for so long, because he's willing to spend hours to practice, take care of his body, study the game, and so on. He forgoes many of the things that people feel make life fun, so he can perform at the highest level the few times he needs to every year. The dome of the Pantheon has the least material in it, but it gets the most attention. In the whole scheme of things, sometimes less is more. One of the ways the Pantheon minimized material in the dome was creating the molded recesses in it. Although this was a small thing, it brought a lot of attention to the dome and actually made the building possible. This brings us to our third lesson from the Pantheon. Sometimes the small things in life, the little details, are what makes the difference between a life that is great and is always remembered from a life that no one cares about. So what are these small things? Well, it could be getting to work early while everyone else is showing up. It could be spending time to thank everybody that helped on a project while others just go home. It could be cleaning the office at the end of the day, or maybe spending a little more time at work instead of going to a party with friends. These little things, though seen small in the moment, make a big difference in the end.
The fourth and last lesson of the Pantheon comes from the oculus, the hole at the top of the dome. It teaches us that sometimes what makes something great is not what you do in life. It might be what you leave out. The oculus allows sun to shine through the middle of the Pantheon and brighten the building during the day.
Sometimes you might be justified in getting upset at someone, but this might be something for you to leave out. If you learn to ignore certain habits and impulses, it will brighten your life.
So, if you are wanting to engineer your life for greatness, the first step is to take one of these lessons and apply it to your life. Do something different to help focus more on your foundation. Minimize the amount of time you spend chasing glory and trying to show off to people. Practice doing the little things in life, and maybe practice some self-control. As you slowly do one thing after another to follow these lessons, you will find yourself building a life that will one day be marveled at, and people will remember forever.